listening to The Burn. Gaming stuff, blazing fast.
Welcome to a new episode of The Burn, a podcast about gaming done blazing fast. I'm Aviv Manoach.
And I am Omer Kaplan, and I assure you, Aviv was much more enthusiastic the last time we recorded the opening. It's just like, I think that.
But I did it correctly this time.
Yes, it was slow, accurate, and cautious.
Exactly. How are you doing, Mr. Omer?
I'm good. So we were just talking about Memorial. So it's Memorial Day today.
Yes. What's the greeting for Memorial Day? It's not happy Memorial Day.
So here's the thing. Usually Memorial Day here, at least where I live, is the first day of the pool season. So all the pools are like opening here.
All right. So, it's the equivalent of Shavuot, which we'll have in a week.
Yes. So everybody just like kind of like congregate at pools and just like hang out together. So everybody kind of like acknowledges Memorial Day.
It's not Israeli Memorial Day.
No. I mean, I guess for some people it is, but people are not.
And you also have like two holidays for this. You have Veterans Day and you have Memorial Day. Veterans are those that are still alive.
Yes. So yeah. So I mean, I guess it depends. I guess for who. I mean, if you're not affected directly, I guess, or indirectly by Memorial Day, then it's just like you go to the pool and hang out with people.
Yeah. Do I have a way to make you louder in Zoom?
I can maybe talk a little bit louder, or I can make
also want
louder.
to check. No, the automatically adjust is disabled. Check on your end that it's not automatically adjusting your volume.
Yes,
because Zoom is stupid.
Yep, I'm doing this, and I also have like higher input volume, so we should be fine.
Okay, good. Thank you. Cool. So let's move on from the technical issues and into the show. In each episode of this show, we talk about games we played and liked or disliked. Sometimes there are news. This week there is not news or whatever you said, but we will discuss a few games. So let's dive in with the update on the Crusader Kings 3 campaign.
Yes, so I'm gonna do it real fast. I'm gonna do it blazing fast. I feel like I owe you an update for my Crusader Kings 3 campaign. So my campaign, as you remember, was starting in Ethiopia and slowly but surely conquering my way all the way up to Jerusalem as the only Jewish tribe in the kingdom, like world, whatever. So I had a good run. My kingdom slowly grew. I was starting like conquering people, did my old title distribution, all that. I'm doing all the Crusader King stuff.
Yes.
But then, and I was hoping that the Mongol invasion. So at some point, there's like a big Mongol invasion event where Genghis Khan declares he's the king of the universe and unites all the clans and invades like a whole bunch of stuff. And they started moving west towards Jerusalem. So I thought, okay, well, they're going to throw the whole region into a loop. I'll be able to capitalize on some of that turmoil that happens there and get my way, only to discover that the kingdom of Jerusalem actually managed to repel all the invasion, and they actually become huge and super strong, and there's like no way to even like get near those people. So what ended up happening is, so they became huge, and then I was a relatively small kingdom squished between two big Christian kingdoms. And at some point they said, okay, well, we're going to declare holy war on you and bring all the Christian world on top of you. And that was the end of the campaign. But it was a good run. They ended up forcing me to convert. So there it is. Yeah, it was fun times though. It brought me into Crusader Kings 3, and as soon as I have another
How many hours this campaign took?
I want to say 50, 40 something.
Wow, that's a big campaign.
I can actually check. And now that you're saying it's a big campaign, it's probably going to be closer to 30. But yeah,
But still,
okay. It felt like I literally played like every single like evening for like an hour or two. So I think it's gonna end up between 30 and maybe 50.
that's still a lot of time. That playing for the same campaign for dozens of hours. That's getting your worth out of the game.
Yeah. Just because like it was really hard to get alliances or marrying people, so it was really it was tough. It was like I think I could have set myself up for an easier campaign at the beginning. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but that was the theme you wanted to play, and that's what you did, and it was fun.
yep, it was fun. And now I'm resting from 4K games for maybe a couple of weeks. But it's fun
um,
times.
that's cool. Okay, let's move on to the game of the show, and this time we are talking about V Rising.
Ooh,
So V Rising is an early access game that came out like 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. And that this is one of those survival crafting game that takes Twitch by a storm every time they came out. The last one was Valheim. And many people describe V Rising as basically Valheim vampire thing. Only the key difference between, beside the vampire stuff, between V Rising and other survival crafting game is that it's from like a top down perspective like Diablo, and not a third person like an adventure perspective thing. So for me at least, once I saw it, and I've been playing survivor crafting for a while, not a lot of them, but some of them. I really got into Conan Exiles for a while. That was really cool. But the thing that drew me into V Rising was that ARPG kind of gameplay mechanic. So you have a top-down perspective, and you have like hotkeys for your abilities, and you attack with the mouse and everything. So that's a key difference that for me was a big drawing point. The other one, the other drawing point is the vampire stuff, and it's very like ingrained into the game. Besides of the story, you are an ancient vampire. You were in a stupor for hundreds of years. Once the vampires ruled the world, and then they were defeated, and all the vampires went into their slumber, and now you are risen. And apparently, the vampire blood has been like distributed among the population. It's called the V blood. And people with high concentration of V blood have unique abilities, and your goal here is to go around the game world and kill all the filthy mortals possessing V blood, and taking back your vampire abilities. And those are sort of like the progression of the game, the bosses and everything. They start from like level, I think 15 is the first. I would call it a boss. It's a big wolf thing. It's called the Alpha Wolf. After you kill it, you can turn into a wolf, which is cool. There are a few shape-shifting abilities in the game. You turn into a wolf to get extra speed. You turn into a rat. I didn't get that ability, but I know it exists. I turn it into a rat, and I think that makes it so people ignore you, so you can like travel without getting attacked all the time, stuff like that. And the majority of the game is you build your castle. The vampire castle is really cool. You start with the normal crafting tables and whatnot, and later you get specialized rooms for your castle. So you get, for example, a forge floor. So you build a forge room, and you put your forges there, smelting, stuff like that. And your crafting stations get bonuses from being in a room and for being in the appropriate room. And that ties into like the big problem with the game early in the early game, and obviously the game addresses that. It's part of the progression, but it's difficult at the beginning. The game is very slow at the beginning. Traveling from place to place, crafting everything takes a long time. And as I mentioned, because of all of these synergies, it is planned in a way that over time you will gain more like bonuses on your crafting. So you get bonuses from things being in a room, you get bonuses from the floor, etc. So those bonuses counteract the slowness of crafting thing. And also as the game progresses, you gain abilities to move quicker. You can mount horses, which is really cool. So it helps you move a lot quicker. I actually found out you can get mounts a lot quicker than I previously knew. In my game, and I let me preface this by saying I know a lot about the game from watching it on Twitch and less from my own playthrough. I played for like 8 hours. I got, from those who play the game, I got to the point where you start enchanting or charming servants for your vampire army, basically. And I didn't get a horse in my amount in my playthrough. I didn't get a lot of two later stage bosses, stuff like that. So I know of those things from watching on Twitch. But yeah, you get mounts. There are portals, like a teleport station in the game, but the game does something unique in that because of the ARPG nature, there are two types of equipment on you. One is like your adventuring equipment, like your weapons and consumables and stuff, and the other is like the crafting material and everything. And you can't teleport if you have crafting materials on you. You can only teleport with your adventuring gear. So if you build your castle near a teleportation gate, you can jump into like further into the map to go one way, but then you collect resources and everything, and you have to do the track back. You can't teleport back. And obviously, I think you can teleport with a horse. So you either go on with your mount or you don't. That's why. That's what I think. So all in all, the early game and mid game are a bit slow, but if you go through that, there are ways to mitigate that. But some of the cool things in this game, and like other crafting survival games, it can be played in servers. I think 40 player is the limit right now. I think I saw also 60, but I don't know where that came from. In my game, in the server browser thing, I only saw up to 30. And because of the nature of the bosses and everything, it has that feel of an MMO. Because in a server with actual people, you can organize raids to go after bosses, and you actually go and kill those bosses. And everyone when that is near the boss can feed on the boss and gain the ability. So it's not like a one player thing. If you kill the boss, you are in the proximity. Everyone can feed from it and gain the thing. I saw some of the battles in the end game, and there are like cathedral and other castles, and you go into them, and it's like Scarlet Monastery in World of Warcraft. Really amazing stuff. So yeah, it's an early access, but it has a bunch of content, easily 50, 60, 80 hours of content in this game, a bunch of different bosses and unique enemies. There is a mechanic for your vampire blood, so each time you drink a mob's blood, it has like a class and purity. So it can be like a 3% creature blood, or a 50% rogue blood, or 90% warrior blood, stuff like that. And the higher quality blood you drink, you get special abilities from that class. But if you drink another type of blood or lower quality, any other thing, basically, you lose those bonuses. So all the bonuses are short term. You don't like keep the quality and the class you got, because blood runs out eventually. It decreases. I don't know if it decreases automatically if you don't do anything, but in order for you to heal, you need to use blood. Later game you have potions and stuff, but early game especially, you have to use blood to heal, and so at some point you will run out of blood and you have to feed. Sometimes mobs drop hearts, which you can eat to gain blood, but that is frail blood, and frail blood always have 0% quality and no bonuses. So in a pinch, you can restore your blood, but you lose all your bonuses. So that's a really cool mechanic. Obviously, there are a bunch of different abilities to gain from all the bosses. So there are like range attacks and melee attacks and all sorts of spells and stuff. Very ARPG like. Also, weapons you craft and find also have a secondary ability that you can use. So for example, the first spears you get has like a flurry attack where they do a bunch of spear strike at the same time. Maces or hammers has like a ground pound thing. Swords has like a spin to win move, stuff like that. Very versatile, very, very deep, this game. As I mentioned, there is a mechanic for charming mobs and turning them into vampire servants, and then you can either put them to guard your castle or send them on hunts and stuff. So yeah, early access, a lot of content, looks good, plays well. The only real complaints I have is the slowness of the beginning and the fact that unlike most ARPG, you move with the WASD keys and you change the camera with the right mouse button, and that control scheme is not very comfortable a lot of the time. I would rather if it was like just like Diablo where you click to move and stuff. But yeah, other than that, highly recommend it. Even in early access, it can only become better from here. And it's $20 like right now. So yeah,
No, it seems I'm really conflicted about games who take Twitch like by storm. So I don't, like everybody plays it. It's like top seller on Steam because everybody gets it. But this one seems like really, really polished for early access.
Yeah. I haven't like dug deep into it. Maybe it's early access because they are polishing the netcode for the servers and stuff. I don't know, but clearly a lot of work has gone into this game.
Yeah, and it looks like if you are into crafting survival, if the ARPG angle, I think it's pretty nice. But yeah, so I thought about getting it, and I watched people play it on Twitch, and I'm thinking, wow, this is like, like Valheim, I think there's a lot of like upfront investment you have to make until you get to the cool stuff. So I mean, it sounds like I haven't watched
Valheim a lot, so I can't compare. But I wouldn't say you need to wait to get to the cool stuff. I think they. And another thing I forgot to mention, there is a very in-depth onboarding and tutorial to the game. So there is like a quest line that tells you what to do at the beginning in great details, and as you progress, start giving you more general goals. So in the beginning is craft a bone sword, and after like 5 hours, it's build a castle room without telling you all the steps in between. So very good, work on that side of it. And my point was that even in the early stages of the game, despite the fact that crafting and everything takes a bit longer, there are cool things. There are cool things to see, and the early bosses are cool and interesting, and you get some very nice abilities very early on. So I played for 8 hours, and there was always something to do. And even though I ran into enemies that were difficult for me, I always felt cool, and I like games that makes me feel cool.
Yes.
And also, I then went and watched one of my streamers play it, and I noticed how they just has a completely different skill level, even in the early game. So you can play the game a lot better than I did.
So, and by the way, when you die, do you have to start over?
Oh,
or is it like,
that's okay. That's an interesting thing. The death mechanic is very Diablo 2. As I mentioned, there are the two type of equipment. The adventure equipment stays with you, so all of your weapons and armor and consumables, you don't lose them, but you drop your corpse drops all of your resources that you collect. So when you die, you respawn either in a gateway, like a teleportation gate, or in your coffin, and you can just run back and get your corpse, like in Diablo.
Okay, that's nice.
Yep, it's from that perspective also a very cool thing for a crafting game. I don't like perma-death, perma-losing things in those games.
Okay, I'm in. So at the beginning of the podcast, I was like, I don't know, I'm not really into crafting survival. Valheim, it was like super slow, and I wasn't getting much out of it. But this one's maybe interesting, so we'll see.
Yeah, I kind of want to try a multiplayer server, but I probably only do it with friends, because going into a public server, even if it's just PvE and not PvP, you run into a thing where, okay, everyone has their castle location. Where do I build my castle and stuff like that? So I'd probably only try to play it with friends at some points. But it's very viable solo, and solo also give like a different experience. In the other podcast, I described this castle aesthetic as Castlevania, the animated series, especially like the first 2 seasons with the actual castle of Dracula, and you can get crazy builds with this game. The only thing is there are no stories. You can only build like flat levels, or use the surrounding levels to bump up. You can't put multiple stories one on top of the other.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, as a person who's really bad at like building games, I'll build a flat thing. I mean, I played No Man's Sky, and people build like amazing stuff in No Man's Sky.
Oh, in No Man's Sky, that building system in that game, you have like you have floors and walls and everything, and you can build whatever you want, but you also have prefab rooms. I only use the prefab rooms.
Exactly. I'll be, if I try to be like freeform build there, I just build a tent. I can't build something good. And same with Valheim.
The prefab rooms just looks better, and they connect and everything, and it works.
Yes. So I miss No Man's Sky. It's a fun game.
It just got a new expansion has been announced.
Is that the one where you can play as a pirate?
It's something with a roguelike mechanic. I didn't really look too deep into it.
Yeah, this game is the herald of the metaverse. This game is pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to our last topic. You played the other Twitch sensation of like 2 years ago or something.
Yes.
Untitled Goose Game.
Yeah, I don't know where I got it. I don't know how I got it. I could maybe have gotten it 2 years ago in the whole Twitch thing because it looks funny. And I finished the game, I think yesterday, where I had to like just take
How
a break
long?
from the.
How long to beat?
Oh, I want to say, I think I wrote in the show notes I think it was between 4 and 8 hours, something like that. It's like, so it's a short experience. Like, if you really put yourself to the task of, I took it really slow, super, super slow. So if you say, okay, like, I want to play this game through and I want to beat it, you're probably going to do it within 3 to 5 hours, probably. It's like a really short and fun experience. So for those of you who don't know what it is, you literally play as a goose with all the things a goose can do. You can honk, you can flap your wings, you can run, you can walk. There's no flying, but so you're kind of like a grounded goose, I guess. Which is kind of funny because we have a lot of geese like where I live. So and they're acting the same way. They like hate people. They'll chase you. They'll, they're not nice people. So basically, you're a goose and you're on a mission, which I'm not going to spoil, but essentially you fill out a to-do list between like one zone of a little town to the next. So you start at like this area that has like a garden with the gardener, and you have a whole bunch of like tasks to do. And once you finish a bunch of tasks, you annoy the gardener enough that he's unlocking the next area for you, pretty much. And then you go between different zones until you reach the end, which I'm not going to spoil. But there's a story. There's a small, super short and cute story to the game. And most of the tasks are involving like really specific stuff, like I don't know. So there's a zone which is a restaurant, so you have to, steal a fork, a knife, a cup, and make yourself a small picnic. So that's one of the to-dos. But there's like more vague to-dos. So one of the things you have to do right off the bat is make the gardener wear his like special sun hat. So the gardener, you see the sun hat is like on is hanging for somewhere, and you say, okay, well, what do I need to do to make the gardener wear the hat? And then you have to like kind of like discern that from your surroundings, the behaviors of the different characters. So it's nice. It's kind of like it's like a puzzle game which like involves some observation, some, I don't know, like a little bit of like maneuvering like the environment and like learning, okay, well, I can hide in bushes and they don't see me, or I can hide under a table and they ignore me. Or look at what some character is doing. If you honk at them, what do they do? If you flap your wings at them, what do they do? So the initial experience is very easy and straightforward. So that's your like, I don't know, 3 to 5 hours. Just go through the game and enjoy it. And then sometimes you'll do stuff that's like really weird. So one thing I did, because I was stuck like for a long time in the first zone, and then I figured out like the mechanics of the game. So one of the things I said, well, what if I lock the gardener outside of his garden? I could probably do that. So I did it somehow, and then you get like a special achievement, and then there's this whole other secret to-do list that unlocks, and this is like your higher tier difficulty. So you can do like really challenging stuff with the characters that isn't on your like straightforward complete the game experience, which is kind of nice.
Awesome. It's basically you say it's a puzzle game. It's always reminded me, and I think other people did made the comparison. It's Hitman, just without killing.
That's interesting.
Not without killing people, without the theme of hired assassin.
Yeah, there's
because
something to it.
especially the newer Hitman trilogy, it's a stealth game, but it's really is a puzzle game, and that's what we call it, and they're very similar in that regard.
Yes. And, I mean, it's very. I mean, if you compare it to Hitman, it's like overly simplified, which is nice. it's overly simplified. So there's not, you don't go into a club and you have to observe all the stuff and all the environment and all the roles. You have like one or two characters, how they interact. Yeah. And you can do things stealthily. You can do things.
Yeah, it's sort of a deconstruction of the formula.
Yes. Some of the things you can stealth. Some of the things you can even force if you really try. So you can, instead of like stealing something and then stealth your way out, you can just like grab it and like they'll chase you, but you'll run very fast. And they're obviously faster than you because they want to keep the game challenging, but you can like maneuver yourself as much as possible. Some characters can swim, so if you go into a lake, they won't follow you necessarily. But yeah, I can totally see the connection there. A lot less strangling and killing people, but I mean, you're a goose. You need to embrace the fact that you're a goose. And
but you can cause like people to drown and stuff, if I remember correctly.
Maybe I haven't done that, but I can totally see that happening.
I think if I remember correctly, there is at one point a way to make people drown, and there is at one point electrocuting people.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Done that.
Yeah. So it's just as violent as Hitman. You just don't have the explicit reason of hired to kill people.
But that's So the electrify people, it's on the secret to-do list, so you don't have to do it if you want to finish the game. There is.
So you can play as a pacifist goose or not.
Yes. For the most part, yes. But the thing you do a lot in the game is scare people and lock them in different rooms and make them like lock themselves in, lock themselves out. It's like you make a whole lot of mess as a goose.
Okay.
So there it is. You're a goose. You do the goose things, and it's a short, fun experience. Plays super smooth. It's on every platform imaginable, I think.
Very cool. Very good. Great. So that is all we have on the show today. Thank you for listening. Yeah. You can find us online on Twitter. I'm at Icel. Omer is at Omer Kaplan. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, comment, and leave your reviews on your preferred listening app. You can find all of the links at the website, theburn.live, which I forgot to say at the beginning. And our opening theme was created by Ann Dorko with vocals by Fishy Twitch, also on Twitter. Thank you, Omer.
Thank you for having me.
And as always, until next time, bye-bye.
Yeah.